That's 672-5763. Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Good morning and welcome to Public Pulse. Joining us from the campus of the University of Wyoming is the Director of Institutional Communications, Mr. Chad Baldwin. Good morning, Chad.
Morning, Floyd.
How are you?
Doing great. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I ended up coming down with COVID not too long ago. I thought I was going to make it out of this forest without hitting any of these trees, and I was wrong, Chad. I'll tell you, once it actually got me, it got me pretty good. It put us down for a while.
Yeah, it's hard to find anybody who hasn't had it now, it seems like.
Yeah, I was part of that exclusive club for a little while. Started to think I was special. I learned pretty quick. I'm just like the rest of us. Has campus gone quiet for Thanksgiving?
It has, yep. The students are on break. There's still some of us toiling away here in our offices, but it's quiet now, yep.
And construction projects for a new student housing and an expansion of the College of Law building could begin in as soon as a month. Now, this is following an action last week by the University of Wyoming Board of Trustees. What was that action taken by the board?
They approved what they call the guaranteed maximum price for each of those projects, and then an authorization to proceed with construction. And so we used the construction manager at risk approach with these, where that's the last stage now to actually start the work. And so we've got the cost set, and those contractors are ready to roll.
It seems like the university has done so much work in the past decade. I could probably walk the campus and not recognize where I was at. I can remember the classroom building got a facelift a number of years ago. That was the last big project that I was in Laramie for. And boy, that really transformed that building. How is this going to change the College of Law building? Because that's one of the older buildings on campus, isn't it?
Well, it's I think it was built in the late 60s, early 70s, something like that. So we have many much older buildings than that, but it hasn't had much work since then. And so this is going to be a substantial expansion and some remodeling of the current building. They just need more space. And one of the programs that's really cool that the law school does is they have law clinics where they actually provide legal services for certain types of folks. And one of them would be indigent folks, or people who have some particular needs that maybe it's a service sort of that's provided, I guess you might say, by the law school.
Yeah.
And so that's one of this legal clinic will be in there. Right now they have it somewhere else off campus, not even connected to that building. But this will be a really cool thing. Our law school just recently, I think just last year, celebrated its 100th anniversary, and so UW has produced many of the attorneys here we have in Wyoming, and then of course some leave the state as well. But there's a proud alumni base. They've made some contributions to this project, and then the state of Wyoming has kicked in money as well. So it will be a really nice addition for the law school.
Now, what will this new student housing look like?
Well, these are exciting projects. So there's going to be 2 new residence halls, totaling about 900 rooms.
Oh wow!
Or beds. The first one that's going to get started is about 434 beds, but then a new dining facility for about 850 students. And so we've got our high-rise dormitories. People have seen for many years. Tallest buildings in Wyoming still, and but they're old. They're older than me, which is saying something. And they're just not what modern meet the expectations of today's students. Let's put it that way. So these new residence halls are going to be. I don't know if you've seen the renderings of them, but they're going to look really nice, and they're going to be modern and a great addition.
Where on campus are these going to be located?
They're going to be built along 15th Street, the north one at the corner of 15th and Lewis. There, so the kind of the north part of campus, next to the McWhinney Hall and the Education College.
Yeah, I know where you're talking.
Then the south one will be just east of Half Acre Recreation and Wellness Center, and so close to the Union there. So right there along 15th Street. If you've been to campus lately, you've seen the grounds all kind of torn up there at 15th and Lewis, and so that's where they're going to build the first one.
And all of this could start as soon as December.
Yeah, I think they're pretty close to being ready to roll. This has taken a long time, Floyd. This housing project has been in the works for years, probably close to a decade, and so we're really excited now to be able to roll on it. It's huge. I mean, it's the first phase here is $171 million.
Wow! Wow!
And so it's we're going to be a big change for UW.
And how is all this being paid for, Chad?
So this is the residence halls are being done through bonding. So the legislature actually directed and authorized what we're doing, and we'll issue bonds. Well, they've been issued. I mean, the revenue's there now, and so the way that works is then you just repay it over time.
Now, is this going to increase enrollment, do you think, like the number of individuals within the college, or is this going to just kind of be like a supplementary housing for students that are already there?
No, so this is going to replace, of course, the old housing.
Okay. So
but right now we have about 2,000 beds available in the old ones, and these will be about 900. So they won't completely replace, but we I'm in charge of the marketing team here at the university, and we see a great opportunity for this to be a recruiting piece. As it is now, when not to say that they're dumps or anything, but let's just say when we take students on tours, we don't necessarily show them the first thing we show them isn't the dorms.
Yeah. I will admit, I had a friend going there at the university, and I had a family, so I lived off campus. He was a single guy who transferred over from Rock Springs, and so he was in the dorms. And I visited him a few times, and I will admit, Chad, I thought, you know what, I kind of expected a little bit more out of the dorms. Yeah. So it's good to see that that's being updated and changed.
Yeah, we think it definitely will attract more students. You bet.
But I will say that dining facility was fantastic.
Yeah, the Washington Center has been nice. That's been a good addition. That's younger than me. It's, by quite a bit. But it's served us well. But we'll have a really nice new one. I mean, these residence halls are going to be closer to the central campus, so students aren't going to have to walk across 15th, and they'll be right there by the Union, right there by Half Acre, right by the main campus, and so it's gonna let's just say it'll improve the student experience.
And I will say about 8:30, 9 o'clock, it's really difficult to turn into that into that campus because, man, the influx of students from the dorm heading over to the rest of the campus, it's rush hour around that time.
Yep.
That whole corner is just full of students. Now, another thing that's actually being added up there, aiming to meet consumer demand and increase some traffic in the Wyoming Union, the University of Wyoming will open a Chick-fil-A dining option next year. How will this? So this is going to be in the Student Union building, and if I remember correctly, it's upstairs, right?
It's on the main level there. If you've been to campus lately, our most popular dining spot is Panda Express, and Chick-fil-A will be right close to it. It's another dining option, right? And while we certainly have the great service that will be there at the new dining center nearby in a couple of years, we've been asking our students. Well, let's just say this: our students have been asking us for some time. They want Chick-fil-A, and so we're going to have it. It's the second one in all of Wyoming, I believe. There's only another one, and that's in Cheyenne.
Now, I could say that when I visited the Student Union building to buy my books, that was the first time, and this is going to really date me because I think it's been a while. That was the first time I ever had a Good Times burger.
Yeah.
That was quite a while ago that was upstairs.
Yeah. We've you got to really date me, Floyd. When I was a student, we still had a bowling alley down in the basement.
Oh wow! Yeah. Boy, the basement the basement of the Student Union. I can't remember what that was called. What is that called, Chad?
We'll have it now. It's Pistol Pete's game room. We've got a really nice game room area and even a lounge area down there now.
Yeah, that was a great place to hang out.
Yeah, upstairs, we get a lot of students coming in for lunch. They like Chick-fil-A. We have we have a sushi place there now. And so the Chick-fil-A it's just a real popular restaurant. And people like it, and the students asked for it, and we provided it.
Now, how do restaurants work on campus? Like, how much of the profits actually go to the campus as opposed to back into the pockets of the owners or the franchise itself?
So UW is going to get 90% of the revenues from this, Floyd.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Chick-fil-A only gets 10%, and it's going to be operated by UW Dining Services. So it's a licensing agreement. I mean, we're selling their product. We're using their name, but it's a UW operation. It's a UW-run thing. And so we get 90% of the revenues.
That's interesting. That kind of surprises me how much the university is going to be able to pull out of this. And I think a lot of that is the fact that we're going to have university dining facility staff as opposed to just hires like in a regular restaurant. So that's good to hear. Yep. And it gives us one more option, one more reason to stop by the campus and walk around that Student Union building and grab yourself a Chick-fil-A sandwich. All right, when we return, we're going to have more with the University of Wyoming. Stick with us. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Share.
Hi, this is JT.
And Elizabeth Kraft. This month and always, we are especially thankful for our business and the opportunity we have each day to reconnect people to the world around them through the gift of hearing while providing food, shelter, and stability for our family.
We are also thankful for our very supportive communities in northern Wyoming. Without our loyal customers and the new friends that join EBIA Hearing and Sound each day, we would not be where we are today. We appreciate all of you more than you know.
Happy Thanksgiving from the EBIA Hearing and Sound family on Coffeen Avenue next to Sherwin-Williams in Sheridan.
Hammer Chevrolet, where every vehicle is new to you, Troy Baker. Bob, trade in and trade up. We have a nice selection of pre-owned late model vehicles, like a 2019 Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison Edition priced at $46,495, a 2021 GMC Sierra 1500 AT4 for $58,995, or a 2021 GMC Terrain for $30,995. Hammer Chevrolet, where every vehicle is new to you. 107 East Alger, online, hammerchevy.com.
You know, the pioneers crossed the vast wilderness in covered wagons, yet today a lot of their offspring actually have to set alarms to remind them when to drink water. If you're needing water, all you have to do is call 307 Wildcat Well Service, a local company that specializes in locating water, drilling and pumps, even solar-powered water wells. So for water wells and all that goes with them, look for 307 Wildcat Well Service in the Country Bounty, and you too will have cool, clean water. Water.
We are ornamentally yours this Black Friday weekend at Nest Home and Holiday. Hi, this is Darlene. This Friday through Sunday, we are featuring our ornaments, and they will be sale priced at 15% off. Check our full page ad in this week's Country Bounty with all of our specials. 15% off all ornaments this Black Friday weekend at Nest Home and Holiday, Window Works and more at 1815 North Main Street. Now open Sundays, noon to 4. Free gift wrapping always.
This week on the Weekend Sports Wrap podcast, this may be the greatest week of sports in history. We've got the World Cup. It's a rivalry weekend in college football, a ton of college basketball tournaments. The NFL has Thanksgiving football plus regular football on Sunday. It's the greatest week in sports history. Plus, I discuss how Alabama might somehow sneak away into the college football playoff. They can't keep getting away with this. They might find a way, ladies and gentlemen. That and more on the Weekend Sports Wrap podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse. I'm Floyd Whiting, and with us this morning is the University of Wyoming Director of Institutional Communications, Chad Baldwin. Now, the University of Wyoming has begun working with institutions of science and technology, such as NASA, in cutting-edge technological development. This is something that the university's been doing for a number of years. It's amazing to see the amount of tech and innovation that's coming out of our university right here in the Cowboy State. Chad, can you tell me a little bit about UW student Russell Todd and Professor Quinn Arthur Zhu, and I'm hoping I'm saying that right, and some of those amazing things that they're doing over there?
You bet. Floyd, so you're right that we have people doing some amazing work here. And some of it, it has commercial application, and a lot of it does. I mean, it's where you don't just do research just for research's sake necessarily. There's basic science, of course, that happens, but then there's, you're talking about applied science here, and it's a pretty amazing story. Russell Todd was just an undergraduate computer science student from down in Baggs, which is, that little Snake River country down way southern Wyoming in Carbon County. Very small school. High school there, but he was here and had this idea for a software that was tied in with virtual reality, and he ended up working with a professor in a whole different department. Dr. Zhu is in kinesiology, which has to do with the way the body works, and they got together and they've created a company, and they now have a product with patents that basically provides an opportunity for physical therapists to do rehabilitation work with patients who are in remote locations through this virtual reality and motion censoring thing. So a physical therapist can have a patient somewhere else. That patient uses these devices, moves, to do the work of rehab, and then the PT can based upon basically it's the same as being there in person almost.
Which is, we talk about like telehealth with the VA, mental health stuff. But for a lot of these physical health type of things, you've got to still go to a VA facility, still got to go in there and sit down with your physical therapist. I took physical therapy at the VA for a while. If you put the work in, it works. So I would go up there, but now, which is something that's just fantastic and almost kind of out of a science fiction novel or a movie, it's becoming a reality thanks to Todd and Dr. Zhu. You can get this done from Sheridan while still being in Afton.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's amazing to think about. And it opens up a new. You're able to help people in different ways than you've ever been able to do before. My son's just actually graduating from physical therapy school next month, and he got a degree here, his undergraduate degree at UW in kinesiology. And Dr. Zhu was one of his professors actually, and so it's going to be cool. I mean, I'm not sure if the clinic where he's going to be working will implement this right away, but there's a product here that we've got a new company formed right here in Wyoming because of research that was done here on campus.
That's fantastic. It's amazing to hear because this is also such a huge contributor to the Wyoming economy. This will bring in, physical therapists, technological, the individuals who work on these types of programs. So it's just a huge benefit for everybody all the way around. And I think we're finally on that cusp, Chad, where we kind of expected to be here, back in the 90s, thanks to movies. But now you can go see your doctor. No matter where you are in the world, you can see that one good doctor that you want to talk to and have her or him be able to kind of work on you or work with you remotely from anywhere in the world. And I think that's absolutely amazing.
It's really important, particularly in rural states like ours, Floyd, where, and especially in the wintertime, it's hard to get around. And to be able to still be able to get the health care that you need with that remote sort of arrangement, the telehealth, in this case, telerehabilitation, it's a big deal.
It absolutely is. And, I think things like this, thanks to, brilliant engineers, are going to become so much more normal in our society, which again, if you really think about it, is an absolute brilliant advancement. What's next for this team? Are they going to be able to use this application in other types of technologies? So, having other companies or organizations approaching them regarding applications of this tech, say like video game industries or some gas and mining tech?
That's great questions, Floyd. I don't know that I can answer on their behalf. I think right now they're focused on the commercialization of this particular use for healthcare. But who knows? I mean, and the university is really stepping up on many fronts with our new School of Computing. Mm-hmm. This is a digital world we live in, and that's primarily where the opportunities are for advancement and for entrepreneurial opportunities. We expect. We already are producing quite a lot of this technology, but with even a bigger emphasis on entrepreneurism and computing, applied computing, I think you can anticipate that things will just, you'll see more and more of this in the university.
Absolutely. And best of luck to those individuals. Groundbreaking stuff over there. Now, the University of Wyoming will also offer 2 new certificate programs to equip current students and working professionals in the evolving energy landscape. Chad, what do these new programs certify?
So the first one I'll talk about is in the area of carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So we know that that's the future here. Is capturing carbon dioxide, keeping it from going into the atmosphere is an imperative. It's really going to help preserve the future of Wyoming's coal industry to some degree, and there are market incentives to do this sort of work, and so it's a growing field. Let's just put it that way. And students here coming to UW will have the opportunity to get an undergraduate certificate now in carbon capture and storage, and they'll be more marketable for jobs in this area.
Now, I'm not a professional when it comes to carbon capture. I know you aren't either. But people are hearing it. It's a buzzword right now. It's a buzz phrase, mm-hmm. Carbon capture, storage. But it's a buzz because I feel that here in Wyoming, we've got a lot of individuals within the private sector and within the government who are looking at this as being something that could be quite profitable, quite beneficial for the state of Wyoming. Chad, you're down there, you're seeing and talking to these individuals. Do you see this really being like an industry that's going to help Wyoming in the future kind of take off and rise in the ranks?
Well, Floyd, I'm no expert in this, but I think the answer is yeah, from what I can see. In our School of Energy Resources is one of the world, national leaders in this effort. And Wyoming as a state is. I mean, we have the laws in place to capture and store carbon. There's a big project up in going on near Gillette now that's using these technologies and I think there was a private company just within the last few months announced it was going to create a carbon capture facility somewhere in Wyoming. I don't think they picked the exact spot yet, but I can't see this all of a sudden just drying up, Floyd. This thing has got a lot of momentum. It's got backing, as you said, from both the private and public sectors, and we are a national leader in this. And so it's happening.
Yeah, and it's just another groundbreaking advancement, with techniques and practices and technology that is going to be used in the application of this practice to carbon capture and store it. And I think it's amazing. I think it's great that you guys are now offering these certifications. How can someone who's interested in entering into this, essentially new industry get these certifications? What do they need?
So when they come here as undergraduates, they'll need to take it, and we'll do some marketing of this stuff, Floyd, too, but it's through the School of Energy Resources. I should mention the other certificate is in land administration. So this is where students will become knowledgeable and the role that energy and natural resources and agriculture play in land administration. So it complements our existing degree program in energy resources and management, and you can do it on any other degree offered at UW. So it's kind of an add-on sort of thing that students can do when they're here. That'll just make them more marketable.
And when it comes to land issues, every single industry, if you really look at it, is going to have land issues. And so getting a certification in land administration and understanding that, from layman's terms, it's a quagmire of issues that have to be addressed when it comes to Wyoming land and how we're going to use it. I think that's wise for anybody in just about any industry. Chad, I want to thank you for calling in today. It is always a pleasure to learn about some of the amazing things that are being studied and developed right down there at our university. Thank you so much, sir. And happy Thanksgiving to you.
Same to you. Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk with our Sheridan County Library System. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
Is that pain in your shoulder keeping you up at night? Are you feeling numbness and tingling in your hand? Has your neck or back acted up coming off the mountain? Sheridan Ortho excels in the diagnosis, treatment, and surgery of the upper extremities and spine. The team of surgeons at Sheridan Ortho offer cutting-edge care in sports medicine as well, including minimally invasive procedures like hip arthroscopy and regenerative therapy. Sheridan Orthopedics serves the community with emergency care 24/7, 365, and has for over 50 years. Some same-day appointments available. Visit SheridanOrtho.com.
The owners and staff at Kane's Funeral Home would like to thank the families of Sheridan and Johnson counties for choosing Kane's and allowing them to serve you during these hard times. Kane Funeral Home makes it their mission to take the stress and uncertainty out of ceremonial services. They own and operate the only crematory in Sheridan County, so your loved one is always in their care. Kane's Funeral Home. Call 673-5837 or visit them online at kanefuneral.com. Washing your car at home may seem like the best way, but with the new technology, Buggy Bath Car Wash's touchless automatic uses 75% less water. Saving water and being environmentally friendly is just another way Buggy Bath takes care of you and your car. So the next time you need to remove the grime, choose the environment with the touchless automatic car wash at Buggy Bath Car Wash, North Main and downtown Sheridan.
At Sheridan Funeral Home and Cremation Services, we do our very best to provide service that is delivered with compassion and professionalism, making the hardest of times a little easier as we guide you through the necessary planning and detail. You can trust Kimberly and Carrie to guide you through the arrangements to create a meaningful ceremony to honor the life of your loved one. Taking care of your loved ones with respect and dignity is our ministry here at Sheridan Funeral Home in Sheridan.
What would Christmas be without tradition? Without the comfort of home, the joy of family, and the smiles of children? Sheridan Media welcomes you to open your heart this year during the 25th annual Christmas Wish campaign. Due to temporary circumstances beyond their control, some families, friends, and neighbors will struggle to make ends meet, let alone have a Merry Christmas. It is tradition for the Christmas Wish campaign to bring the spirit of the holidays to those individuals. In the past, we have assisted several people with everything from bills to food, clothing, Christmas trees, and toys for children.
Please send your Christmas Wish nominations and donations to P.O. Box 5086 Sheridan, or submit them online at SheridanMedia.com as soon as possible. All wishes must be submitted in writing and must include your name and phone number. There are follow-up questions our committee will need to have answered to properly assess each wish. Wishes must be received by Friday, November 25th.
Partners for this year's Christmas Wish campaign are Atlas Chiropractic, First Federal Bank and Trust, Heartland Kubota, Advanced Auto Body, A-Line Roofing and Exteriors, Wyoming Corporate Office, and Odell Construction.
It's that time of year again when Santa needs ideas. At Legacy Diamond & Gems, they have a wide selection of beautiful jewelry for all pocketbooks. The best part is they can add any of your favorite jewelry items to your own personal wish list, so Santa knows exactly what you love. At Legacy Diamond & Gems, quality and value are always in style. So stop in today and add to your own personal wish list so a Merry Christmas can be had by one and all. That's Legacy Diamond & Gems, 11 North Main Street in downtown Sheridan.
Good morning. Welcome back to Public Pulse. I'm Floyd Whiting. Joining me for the second half of the show this morning is the director of the Sheridan County Library System, Cameron Duff. Good morning, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Let's see. I think it's been over a month since you and I actually
you had a special guest come in last month. So
I did.
Yeah.
I had to cancel on you, and I'm really sorry for that.
Oh no, that's fine.
Greatly appreciate when you move your appearance, though.
No, we're definitely flexible, and anything we can do to help out, that's our goal.
Now, one thing that we've got some events we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy having you on because you and I always end up kind of going down our rabbit holes.
Oh yeah, we go off topic a lot.
But I just bought a very large volume of Conan stories.
Oh, really?
Now, there's by many different authors. This collection is just old pulp fiction of the barbarian through those years. Do you still have a lot of people who come in seeking those like old dime books from back in the day?
So this particular subject, I'm not sure. I'm going to draw a blank on this one. But yeah, we definitely have some people. It would be in our sci-fi collection, and it's the fantasy, science fiction, and any other category that's you just don't want to put in regular fiction. And we still have a lot of people coming in for that. And you could say the same for the genres of Westerns. They still get people coming in for the Louis L'Amours and some of the classics that way. So as for the thin, five and dime type books, I can't say for sure, but there's always a demand for stuff like that.
And it's just amazing to me because when I was a little kid, you'd go in to like those old secondhand stores, and they've had shelves and shelves of these old pulp fiction books, and that's what got me on this whole Conan kick. I was in Iraq. And we had a library that we had, because people send you books and people are very generous. So we had shelves and shelves. And there it was, this old Conan little pulp fiction thing. And I thought, well, I'll give it a read. And wow, it was actually pretty good.
You got hooked.
I got hooked, but it's like a guilty pleasure.
And that's the thing is it was meant to hook you. It was meant to say, I want the next issue that comes out. And they could make them short so that you could go ahead and be, engaged and wait for the next one versus some of the ones like right now. I couldn't read War and Peace, going into those 1,000+ page books. I can't get into stuff like that. But when you're talking about short stories and then you combine it together into a larger novel, that I can handle.
Yeah, so like you could sit down and knock out a chapter,
Exactly.
and the beginning of the story and the end of the story, it's all there. It's one cohesive thing. And I'm really kind of looking like this showed up just the other day. I haven't even cracked it open yet. Do you have any guilty pleasures when it comes to literature? Anything that you look back on and you're like, yeah, it's not considered like top shelf literary works of not the great American
I
novel.
wouldn't say I do. I was definitely into more of the mystery novels, a Tom Clancy, that type of book, but I wouldn't ever say that. As a kid, my parents actually had trouble getting me to read. So it was the Hardy Boys series that did it. So the mystery is what got me hooked and able to read and build up from that. And see, I'm a librarian now, but that's great. But every kid has their struggles, and you have to find that genre that they're into. And what's interesting is it may not be fiction. It could be a nonfiction book. Someone might want to read, they love geology, and so they're going to just go crazy over books on geology or dinosaurs. And the goal is with literacy, just find something that they're interested in. The schools are going to be able to steer them into the areas they are required to read, but the joy of reading should be about what you enjoy reading. So.
And I love the fact that you said that. I can remember my father. I used to read a lot of fantasy novels. Dragonlance, when I was 13 years old, it opened up a whole new world for me. And so I read the entire Chronicles. That's a good series. That's a good series. And I can remember I was sitting out on our deck reading this massive novel. My father came back out there, and I think when he saw the book, he was like, "All right, that's pretty good size." That's and then he saw the cover, and he goes, if you're gonna read something, why wouldn't you learn something from it? And that's really the way that my father approaches everything. If you're gonna do it, it's either gonna be work, because to him that carries value. But I came up with a saying for him: a moment enjoyed is never wasted.
Well, yeah, that is true, and that's a good response, but I get it. You're wanting the efficiency factor. You're trying to knock out two things. You're learning something and you're reading, so you're increasing your vocabulary and everything. But I look at it as sometimes your mind just has to wander, and it has to have that imagination growth, and that's where you get... as an adult, the different career fields, someone who's taken up architecture or some artistic drawing side, they have to have that imaginative mind. They have to be able to see something that doesn't yet exist and put it onto paper. And that's the way I look at literature as a joy of reading. Is you're just trying to let your mind go and let it imagine things that aren't possible. And you can go ahead and be creative that way. Doesn't work for everyone. My mind is more analytical, and so the creative side was always a struggle. But for those kids that are reading that way, I don't look at it as a disappointment or it's not a learning. They're just letting their mind, grow in that imaginative style.
Letting it wander.
Letting it wander.
And, one of my favorite authors, Tolkien, he was a linguist at Oxford University. And I can remember reading an article during an interview where he said so many of his fellows came to him and basically said, "Why are you not writing books about language? Why are you not contributing to the acumen of what we're doing here?" And I think... I can't remember what his response was, but that really kind of hit me, where it's one of the most respected individuals in literature made the decision to go off and create this entire mythology as opposed to sit down and, do the ABC type of work. He decided, I'm going to create something, a world, which now feeds all of fantasy.
Oh, totally.
I mean, he is the foundation of an entire genre, really. And so I always respected that about him. And it kind of gives credibility to having that imaginative approach towards literature.
And you can tell by the number of, I'm just going to stick with kids, number of kids who will read, the Lord of the Rings series it's hitting them. It's impacting them in a way, and they have similar mindset. It's going, no, this is what I want to see. I myself struggle reading Tolkien.
Really?
Yeah, it's a difficult, but I can see his linguistic side, and he brings in different aspects. So it's very well thought out and well written, but it's just not my style. So, everyone has their own, and that's why you have millions of authors.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own style. But if you look at creativity in a different way, take technology. If you didn't have individuals who had a way of saying, I need to buck the system, I need to find something else because this just isn't working for me, you wouldn't have the Apples, IBMs, the Google, any of those big tech firms now started because they just weren't happy with what was already there. They had to be creative and do something different. No different in literature. You have to have individuals say, I'm not going to write the same thing as everyone else. And those are the ones that are successful, as they found their niche.
And when going back to that pulp fiction idea, I think it's those little novels, those little dime novels that really help feed that passion towards the written word. For me, that's how it kind of all began. And I can remember I was out helping my uncle, who was a range rider. I was helping him bring in some cows, and so I was out there for about a week of my summer. And he had this massive collection of Louis L'Amour books.
Yep.
And I mean, that can be seen as a good old dime, nickel,
started off small.
Pulp fiction. And that really, I can't remember how many of those I read, but it was a lot in that week.
Yeah.
I mean, I consumed a lot of those. And really saw the passion, because when my father does read for fun, it would be something like that. It would be more the Louis L'Amour or something. And so I bought him this collection of like Louis L'Amour stories, just in a great big leather-bound book, and gave that to him. And it sits right next to his collection of the Great Outdoors magazine. Where you read that one for fun, you read that one because it's going to teach you how to do something.
You're going to survive if you do this one. No, my father was the same way. He liked to read for learning. But then I look back and I'm going, he was always doing something for us, so he probably didn't have a whole lot of time to read for pleasure as we were growing up. But he's like me. He was more analytical, and so he loved his newspapers, he loved his magazines. But when he was reading a book, it was more nonfiction. So,
learning something.
Yes, absolutely.
The biography of somebody important or someone that they're interested in. Yeah, my father basically learned how to pack in and out of the mountains for weeks at a time, simply just by this one book that he bought. And I can remember my dad packing that thing around with him months.
If you're going to be in the wilderness, that's useful information, and you now survive.
Absolutely. Okay, we've one more thing I do want to hit before this, and that's something that I was talking to an individual about. And that's the pulp fiction, or maybe even just the classic fiction author being able to actually hide truth within their fiction. Now, when I deployed, I took with me a copy of Starship Troopers, which on the surface, you look at Starship Troopers and you think, well, it's a story about going and killing giant bugs on a different planet.
Yeah.
But really, once you read the novel itself, it's a story about a fascist society. And how that fascist society makes these horrible decisions based on fascist thoughts. And so, we can look at George Orwell's Animal Farm, 1984. It goes the other way and tells you the dangers of communism and socialism. And it's so many different authors have done that through the years. Do you have a favorite author where you go to kind of find something like that, truth hidden within fiction?
No, I don't have a favorite author. I definitely have to search sometimes with others. So like 1984 or Animal Farm. I remember in English class in high school, you'd read these and then we'd have to dig in for the hidden meaning that was in there. And I did struggle trying to find some of those hidden meanings. So that wasn't my strong suit. But I respected the fact that when they were writing these books, it was even taboo for them to go ahead and say outright, this is what's happening. So they had to hide it in their characters. And you could say the same for today. It's just, it's a little more blatant. Sometimes you'll just come out and say, this is fascist, this is Marxist. And you're not trying for the hidden meaning. But when you do have to go to some of those classics, that's the reason schools still look at them, is you're trying to find the secondary meaning, not the literal meaning, but what is it that the author is trying to portray? And that is a struggle for a lot of students to comprehend. But for me personally, no, I don't have a favorite that I go out and search. But I have struggled, even in Shakespeare, is trying to find that hidden meaning.
Oh, that's difficult for me. I will admit, during the college English courses, that was tough for me. Shakespeare's stuff was pretty difficult.
But all of them have those secondary meanings, and
absolutely.
They couldn't outright come out as in their time frame when they were writing these. They couldn't really say what was happening, so they had to put it into their characters.
Yeah, like hidden satire.
Yeah,
and criticisms of their governments, their kings, their emperors. And, really taking risks.
It was huge risks. We talk about literary freedom right now, and there's a lot of different challenges going around the country on different topics. But some of them are just really blatant topics. It's like, okay, I get it. I understand what's going on. But in others, it's not. It is very hidden. And those are the ones that intrigue me more, is trying to find those hidden meanings.
Absolutely. And just the ingenious and brilliant ways.
Oh, yeah. They're very creative authors. Yeah.
Just laid those layers on top of it. Okay, I don't have very much time left, so let's go over what's going to happen in December.
Well, I just want to focus on Christmas with Craig. So Craig Johnson is going to be coming in. We want to mention that he's going to be visiting all 4 library locations. So Saturday, December 10th at 6 p.m., he'll be at the Fulmer Library. The library actually closes at 5, so we're opening it up in the evening for that. Story Branch will be Friday, December 16th at 6 p.m. That's, again, after hours. Tongue River Branch Library will be Saturday, December 17th at noon. So we're opening up all of those after hours, and then the last one is Sunday, December 18th at 2 p.m., Claremont Branch Library. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cameron. Another great author. Get out there and listen to him. He's great to hear, folks. You've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
When you're in pain, it causes stress. Even minor pain is telling you something's not right, and early detection is the best path to relief. Make a call to Dr. Colin Hardy of Atlas Chiropractic. Not only can he alleviate your pain, but also reduce physical stress and boost and maintain proper immune system function. Chiropractic is a natural immune booster. With each adjustment, they're not only supporting the central nervous system through proper spinal function and alignment, but also stimulating and strengthening